Hi, everybody. It's John Mayer again, faculty member at California State University Stanislaus and representing this CSU Summer Arts workshop, another in our series of workshops. This one is Right Funny Now, or something. I don't know. I'll let Mike and Amy tell you what it is. I've already forgotten the title, but it's going to be great. It's about sketch comedy and creating sketch comedy. Right Funny Right Now. I think is what it's called. We're really happy to have you back. And if you come to Summer Arts this July, you're going to have the opportunity to work with these 5 wonderful teachers in person. Tonight's workshop is going to be run by the amazing Seeley and Ross. That's Mike Ross and Amy Seeley. And here they are to take over right now. Mike, Amy, come on board.
Hi, John.
Hey, how are you doing? Bye-bye.
Good.
Hi, John. We love you and we believe in you.
I'm Mike Ross.
I'm Amy Seeley.
We perform as Seeley and Ross. We met teaching comedy, teaching improv and sketch comedy for the Second City, among other places we both studied, performed, and taught. We are married, so deal with that. It is called Right Funny Right Now. And our goal today is to give you a taste of what it's like to be in a writer's room, to share ideas, to bounce ideas, and to really talk about tools, comedy tools. You know, there is not one secret to comedy. There is not one trick that always works. I like to use the analogy of a hardware store, okay? If you were going to be a handyman, you would not go buy a hammer and then start hammering everything and call yourself a handyman. You might be a handyman, but you'd be terrible at it, right? To be a good handyman, you sort of have to do a lap, go to the hardware store multiple times, ask questions, start a project, buy 3 or 4 tools and play with them, right? Learn how they work and then start making good stuff. Does that make sense?
That totally makes sense. Mm-hmm. And part of our intention with our little workshop is to offer you an appetizer platter, if you will, or tools to give you a taste of how you can start to build your own original sketches that you can use, you know, for videos, you can use live on stage, you can use to showcase your own talents, your impressions, your characters, et cetera, et cetera. And we have some tools that we're going to break down. We're going to go through them. We also are going to be joined by our fellow instructors, and we gave them some writing assignments so that you out there could feel what it feels like to be a fly on the wall in a writer's room when the writers have to bring in their stuff to share to the head writers in the classroom. So let's go to.
And just to clarify, tools are not appetizers, and appetizers are not tools. Do not snack on a hammer, and do not try to pound a nail with rumaki, right?
It's too soft. The nail won't go in.
We don't have the liability coverage for that kind of stuff.
No.
Okay.
No.
Let's go to our first exercise. And to get started, we're going to bring in our good friends, Dave Rosowski, Katie, and Marshall Gibbons. Join us, please. Hi, Dave.
Ah!
Hi, Mike and Amy.
Hi, Katie and Marshall. Hi, Dave.
Hi, Katie and Marshall.
Welcome. This first exercise we asked you guys to do is a very simple, very common exercise, creating a list. And if any of you are old enough, those of you who are listening to remember Dave Letterman, he had a segment on his show every night that was his top 10 list, right? Where he would do a set up some question and then answer it with 10 different gags, right? For the sake of time, we're going to do top 5. And we've asked each of our participants here to come up with a top 5 for this category. And the category is top 5 rejected Ben & Jerry's flavors. These are flavors that do not exist, that never sold. They were rejected before they ever hit the market. And all I'm going to ask, we're going to go one at a time, and each of you is going to read your 5 flavors that you created. And the only thing I would lay on top of that is to say, to prepare the way Dave does and say, here are my top 5 rejected Ben & Jerry flavors, and then do the count off. Number 5, number 4, number 3, number 2, number 1. Doesn't matter what order you do them in, but give us those numbers as sort of as punctuation between each choice. And feel free to laugh if something makes you laugh. Definitely make note of which one your favorite was of each person's 5. Sounds easy and fun? Yes?
Very
Cool.
much so.
Who feels great? Katie, do you want to go first?
Sure.
Awesome. Let's hear them.
All right. These are my top 5 failed Ben & Jerry's ice cream flavors. 5, indictment chocolate chip.
Oh, topical.
Another one. Gazpacho and cream.
Number 4, gazpacho and cream.
Number 4, gazpacho and cream. Sorry. Number 3, roasted pistachio shells.
Ooh.
Took you a turn. Number 2, fish and chips of chocolate.
Whoa.
That's going okay. And my top failed Ben & Jerry's flavored was non-dairy nut butter and toe jam.
Ooh. First of all, clap for Katie. Good job. Awesome. Marshall, Dave, which of those made you laugh more than the others, or struck you as more fun, interesting, or curious?
I love the last one because it had so many details in it.
Yeah, the last one got me too. It was like,
Yeah, it was so detail oriented. It was like I wouldn't even I would go, I'll have that one instead of being know really what it was.
Now, all 5 of Katie's were great in that they were all very specific, and that last one was maybe the most specific, right? Specificity is the tool that we're playing with right now when we do our lists.
Tool number 1.
Tool number 1. If you hear a line of dialogue, right, and a character says, the child was very thirsty, right? You're probably watching a drama. It's probably a very serious scene. But if you say, the child demanded a tangerine LaCroix, right? We've gotten so specific that we've gone to a weird place, right? Katie, I also loved your very first one, which was indictment chocolate chip. Is that right?
Yeah.
And the reason I love that one is because it took me to an unexpected topic. It broke my expectations, right? We don't expect our ice cream to comment on socio-political issues, right? So that's another tactic that we use, breaking expectations. We do that in comedy all the time. If we're not breaking expectations, we're being boring. Probably, if you released a movie called The Nice People Who Do Normal Things, none of us would buy tickets. My mom would buy tickets, but no one else would buy tickets for that, right? Marshall, let's hear your list.
all right. Top 5 rejected Ben & Jerry's flavors. Number 5, frowny batter. Sugar, free, and non-dairy. So there you go. Number 4, Corona. I barely knew her. All right. That was honeydew melon flavored, by the way. It's not a very appealing one.
Honeydew.
Number 3, cafeteria under table gum surprise.
Oh.
What flavor you're gonna get? It might not even be gum.
Hmm?
Number 2, look what the cat dragged in. Of course, that's going to be mouse and birds.
Yep.
So there you go. And the number 1 rejected Ben & Jerry's ice cream flavor, crisper drawer leavings. No one wants it. No one wants
Katie, what was your favorite?
With the last one.
Whispered your leavings? Yeah. I picture like onion skin. That was the first thing I thought
all
of.
there. No, it's
All
in
that.
there.
Yeah.
No, it's on there.
Yes.
Greenish brown slime. Greenish brown slime swirl.
Once it's on, it just never comes off.
Never.
Yes, it was very visual. The
Hey,
first
did you have a fave?
I did. The one that was under the table. It was just so specific. And also when Marshall said it, there's something about like how many I tasted all the flavors of gum that were there. Like you really go, oh yeah, that's a double mint over there. That's but there was that was it.
Marshall, it was fun.
Marshall, what was the name of that again? The under the table.
Cafeteria under table gum surprise.
It's
Right.
surprise.
Marshall, I loved your sort of throwaway comments in between, which is something Letterman used to do. If the joke didn't land, he would sort of do a couple little comments, see if he could get, or at least buy himself time to set up the next one. Dave, let's hear your list.
Oh,
Wait, did we clap for Marshall?
Clap for Marshall. Sorry about that.
Lovely. I actually did. I'm so sorry. I know I kind of I fudged the rules.
Of course you did.
Fudge. The rules. Fudge.
Yeah.
Amy, thank you, Amy. Amy's right next.
I got
it's actually it's kind of the top 5, but it's kind of the top 6 rejected Ben and Jerry's ice cream flavors. Let's see.
Yeah.
The number 6. I just couldn't. I couldn't. I
Right.
love them so
They're
much.
your babies, Dave.
They're my
babies.
babies. Well, you know they say kill your babies. So number 6 rejected. Number 6 rejected Ben and Jerry's ice cream flavors. Blood, sweat, and pears. Number 5 top rejected Ben and Jerry's flavors. Cough. Why not? Cough. That was a 6 5 4. Number 4 top 5 rejected. Number 4 top 5 rejected Ben and Jerry's ice cream flavors. Rocky Road Rage.
Yes.
Number 3 top 5 rejected Ben and Jerry's ice cream flavors. Panda Mech Express. I kind of tried to get Panda Express in there.
I got it.
Panda Mech Express. My girlfriend said it wasn't going to work, but you know what? I love it, and I'm selling it anyway. Number 2 top rejected Ben and Jerry's ice cream flavors. Coffee Toffee Rebar Crunch. And number 1 top 6 rejected Ben and Jerry ice cream flavors. Salted Camel Crunch.
I love blood, sweat, and pears. Oh my God! Because pears not a good ice cream just to start with. You don't want blood nor sweat in your ice cream. But as a fan of 70s funk pop fusion, I'm kind of down with experiencing what that might be.
Mm-hmm.
Katie, what's your favorite?
Cough.
Cough. Simplicity, right?
Cough.
Yeah.
What a funny word.
Like, oh, no, I don't want that one. No.
Yeah, a very funny word. Marshall, do you have a fave?
Yeah, salted camel crunch. That was mine. Only because it made me laugh because it reminds us of the power of one letter.
Yeah.
Letter, and that flavor's something else.
Now, when the Letterman team would do their top 10 lists, they would have the whole writing staff dive in and add jokes. They would write, dozens and dozens, more than they needed, hundreds most days.
Yeah.
And they would pick the best of the best of the best, the ones that made everybody laugh, the ones that, that worked well together, that harmonized, that made the best list. So it's a great lesson for writing that, if you provide the quantity, you're going to find the quality in what you create. If you get in your own way and you focus on quality too much too soon when you're learning a new art form, you create a situation where you're setting yourself up to fail, and you're going to be confronting perfectionism, right? If you trust quantity, if you just start making stuff and bouncing around and throwing it at other people, you're going to start making them laugh, and you start to learn, oh, that works. Oh, that works. Oh, why did that work? Oh, that's great. And then you build the muscle, you build the tool, and then you have it, and then you don't need to worry about it. It's in your toolkit. You can use it.
Yeah.
Cool.
And funny is in the eye of the beholder, which is, I think, a statement that I make in the first 5 minutes of every sketch writing class I've ever taught for the last 10,000 years. Funny is in the eye of the beholder. We cannot control whether or not an audience will laugh. However, we can surprise them, we can delight them, we can shock them, we can show them something they've never seen before, we can give them an unexpected surprise. And so if we're surprising ourselves, surprising our friends, surprising our fellow writers, and getting them to a place where they're making those noises, then we are on the right path.
And using this tool, specificity, you can almost turn any serious script into a funny script if you just go back over it. If you're a fan of the TV show Schitt's Creek, Catherine O'Hara, who is a Second City veteran and a goddess and a genius, they give her a script which is already a funny script, and she has a thesaurus.
Yeah,
and
with archaic words.
The thesaurus has archaic words, and she goes over her own dialogue, and she picks 2 or 3 words in every scene to change. And she doesn't tell anybody she's going to do it. And then that character, which has her character Maura Rose, who has such a bizarre way of talking anyway, says these things that no other human being would say. And it's just using the tool of specificity. Any questions or comments or thoughts on that, you guys? No? Fun? Good?
Yeah.
Yay? Cool. Okay.
I want to add one thing to what Marshall said. which is, just take one letter, like the simplicity of just taking one letter out of something and making that, and that will turn it around. And also just going hand in glove with what you said, Mike, with that one letter change, you can make a serious movie into a funny movie, Schindler's List. Just that's what comes to me. Too soon? Anyway.
Or Schindler's Lift, which is actually a brand of elevator that an escalator. Schindler's Lift.
Also Schindler's Lust, but that might be too
That's
risque.
too soon. That's
way too soon.
What was that, Marshall? What did he say?
There might be also Schindler's Lust, but it might be too soon.
Yeah.
I'm ready. I don't know if America's ready.
I'm ready for it.
Okay, you guys jump out. Amy's going to set up our new tool, and we'll have you back in a minute.
Right.
I already missed them.
Yeah.
I hope they come back.
It's fun. It's lonely here. There he is.
Oh, Jesus. Now go away.
Go away.
So you explored specificity, and we know that it's essential to helping your script pop off the page. And so now we're going to go into it's a new tool. But first, before I'm going to kind of backwards teach this, which is the thing that I love to do. I love to trick my comedy writing students into learning how to write comedy. So for this one, I had our writing staff, I wanted them to write very simple, boring, everyday setups, meaning who are these people? Where are they? What are they doing together?
A husband and wife on a couch in a Zoom meeting.
Exactly.
That's a simple setup.
Yeah,
right?
so super basic. So it's going to, well, let me put it this way. It's a really good kind of foundational way of approaching your comedy writing. You want to kind of safely, well, maybe safely at first, stay in a very basic, simple, everyday world, and then we'll add some razzle dazzle to that in a way that will make sense to you when our writers are sharing what they have brought to us. So let me bring my writers back. Come back, my writers. Oh, they came back. They like us. They like us.
Good to see them.
Yay! So we'll go. Everybody will take a turn. You're gonna share your who, your what, and your where. Okay. And after you share your who, your what, and your where, we all of us, we're gonna collaborate, and we're gonna come up with the twist to the who, what, and where. We're gonna come up with what is the interesting element that would surprise or delight an audience. Not necessarily what would make it funny, because we're not planning funny. We're considering what would be a choice, what would be a twist to give this who, what, and where. I call it a little something, something. The thing that's going to delight or surprise the audience, which is the thing that we can control. We're not even going to worry or consider whether or not the audience is going to laugh. We can't control that, but we can control how we manipulate, how we add to our who, what, and where. So Katie, you're going to go first again, because you're the lady.
Just one at a time, right?
Yeah.
So just one of your things off your list one of your who, what, and wheres.
Read your setup.
The three things. Okay.
Yeah.
I got parking attendant, moving cones, convention center.
Okay. So writers, what would be a fun twist to get that scene out of the boring everyday and into fun comedy sketch? What is the twist that we are these?
Can I hear it again?
What's the gender of these characters?
One more time, Katie. Say it again.
They were genderless. They were parking attendants. They were moving cones is the what, and the where is at a convention center.
Okay. Good. Dave?
It's New Year's Eve. It's New Year's Eve, and one of them has a date that they have to go to, and the other one is single.
Ooh. Okay.
Do we add on top of that, or
Yeah, go ahead.
I was also thinking that the convention was a pedestrian convention, making no need for parking.
Parking attendants.
Why are we here?
Yeah. Yeah.
So maybe the parking attendants are having an existential crisis. Okay, good.
I love the idea. I love the idea of a pedestrian convention.
Oh yeah.
Like just like that's everybody. That's a really
Yeah.
good idea for a convention.
Pedestrians are global when you think about it. They're global.
Right. It's an international pedestrian convention.
Yeah.
I'd love it if the two parking attendants also happen to have PhDs, and
They're discussing.
they just happen to be stuck at that job, but they speak in a very elevated level about the things that they're doing while the other conflict is emerging.
Yes.
Because you didn't say when it is, it could be that they're cavemen parking attendants. I don't know what we get out of that other than they're cavemen, or they're parking attendants and cars haven't been invented yet, so they're not really sure what they're doing there.
Well, if they're cavemen, I mean, we might as well go with the Flintstones motif, and the cones are actually animals. And
I hate this job. Yeah,
It's a living.
it's a living.
Okay, so now Katie, as a writer,
Yes.
you are open to keeping or discarding any of these twists, and most of these would absolutely work.
Mhm.
I think if I were playing head writer, which I often am head writer in real life, I would say there's something really cool about that New Year's Eve, and I also like the suggestion that Mike had of they're super intellectual, they're PhDs. And another thing we can consider, which is my favorite thing to use, is it syncs up with how we approach our improvising.
Mhm.
Another thing that we can consider is, how is this day different from all other days? What is the thing that we can introduce that changes the lives of these characters forever? Like today is a dramatic confession. Today is a big rejection. Today is the day so-and-so reveals such and such. And it has to do with the characters. It impacts them forever and ever. Does that make sense?
But the most important thing, Katie, is if it's your premise that you're looking for, is that you take the ingredient that is going to inspire you to move forward. You know, what idea is interesting enough for you to spend 2 hours in a coffee shop when coffee shops reopen with it, and see what's there. Really explore it. Probably you have more ideas just from this little bit of of brainstorming than you would need. You probably only need one or two of those twists in order to get the premise out of the gate.
Yeah. Good job. Your who, what, and where was wonderfully simple and boring. Exactly what I wanted it to be. You win the assignment. Clap for Katie. Marshall.
all right, I'll give you one. There are two friends walking along the beach.
Ooh. Okay. Let's give this a decorative twist. Let's give this a twist. So many possibilities. I'm a fan of Here We Are Outside. Yeah. Dave?
It's two friends walking on the beach, but it's one of the beaches in Normandy during the invasion.
Oh,
And they're just walking on the beach.
oh my God, get out of my head.
They're the two soldiers who are clearly not paying attention to what is actually going on. And everything misses them. The bullets, the shells, the Germans. I think that's fantastic. That's
Amanda
fantastic.
takes a shell, misses a.
Oh, yeah. And they stop and listen. I can hear the ocean.
In a shell.
Yeah. That voice. I can hear the ocean. It could be. It sounds like somebody's Jewish grandmother. The ocean. Why is it so loud?
Any other suggestions?
Suggestions.
Suggestions. I'm going to hydrate as it's currently 12,000 degrees in Southern California.
Katie, throw one out.
I'm sorry, I have another one. I have another suggestion.
What do you got, Dave?
It's the sun is going down as they're walking on the beach because it's the last day on Earth. It's actually that nice. That's nice.
Oh. Yeah. And they got to get out all the stuff. They got to get out like,
Yeah.
here's all the things I wanted to tell you in the last 10 years of our friendship. You always forget to put up your turn signal. Ah!
Right.
That's what you wanted to tell me? It's the end of the world? That's what you want to tell me?
As if it matters, because there is no tomorrow.
Yeah, I'll work on that for tomorrow.
Right. That's great. Okay, we're moving on. Clap for Marshall. Good. Wonderfully boring. Thank you, Marshall. Dave Rozowski.
Oh, I don't think I did the assignment right. Here we go. Twins about to be birthed.
So we're in the womb?
We're in the womb, and they're twins, and they're about to be birthed. If you didn't get it right, I'll describe it another way. They're twins about to be birthed.
Okay.
Did that clarify it?
In utero.
Right off the bat, to
They're
me,
in.
they're at least like 12 years old in the womb.
They can't agree who to go first.
Who's going first? I'm going first. No,
I want to be the oldest. You
I'm
go
serious.
first.
No. You got the food first. I need to come out.
Yes. I've been waiting back here. Well, I'm by the door.
I love it if they spoke to each other with the intensity and hostility of two David Mamet characters. And the 9 months they've spent together. Yes.
It's sort of like Felix and Oscar, the odd couple. John Mayer had, I don't know if you saw what he wrote. The name of the sketch would be "In the Womb Where It Happened."
Ah!
In the womb where it happened. God, there's so much. It seems I love all those suggestions. I love all those what ifs. Those are really good. I especially love Marshall's, like they're 12, or one of them is 12, and for some reason the other one's 9. We don't know why. How did that happen?
One of them
And how did that happen?
The other one was Arnold.
And maybe we find out, and maybe we never know. And maybe we hear mom's voice.
Oh.
Right.
I have been pregnant for 12 years.
Oh my God, doctor, please get them out.
Okay, cool. We're moving on. Clap for
Wait,
Dave.
do I get a clap for people?
Good. Katie, you have more. Give me another one. Huh?
You mean more of the more?
Yeah. Give me a who, what, where.
Landscaper, pruning trees, museum, garden.
Ooh.
One landscaper alone?
No, two of them.
Two?
Two
Okay.
landscapers. Okay. I love that location because it's austere. It's fancy pants.
Mm-hmm.
That's good. Who has an idea?
I feel like the zombie
a twist.
apocalypse is happening right now, and there's like they're pruning trees, but there's zombies just on the other side of that gate. Hey, we gotta keep up the landscaping. You know, even the world's
Pride in your job.
Yeah.
Katie, where did you say it was?
At a museum garden.
Okay.
I'm thinking it's a museum for sitcom celebrities. So they're actually making topiaries of Scott Baio and Catherine Helmond and the Olsen twins. So.
When you said garden, I thought of the Garden of Eden, and 2 landscapers and like a Garden of Eden, a museum in the Garden of Eden, or something like that. And I always anything with topiary, Mike, always works. Anything with topiary.
I'm a fan.
Yeah.
If they took their landscaping as seriously as sculptors, sculptors, I think that would be fun and interesting.
Yeah, sort of like Michelangelo or Leonardo da Vinci, that sort of, right.
Yeah.
Look, I'm revealing the Scott Baio out of it.
Yeah, and we could even have contrasts in how they approach the work. Like one is the very blue collar, it's a bush, and the other one is the esoteric, artsy. It's more than just a bush. You don't see what I see. So we can have that definitely in our setups. We can have characters that are in contrast with each other, just like how we do when we are improvising.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I love the idea of somebody creating a topiary of a bush that looks like a bush. So they're making a bush look like a bush. That's the topiary. It's like he just walks up and he goes, "I'm done."
One like tweezers, just goes.
No, maybe he comes up for one, and it's like, no, and I'm done.
Yeah, I'm done.
Or he's got like an emery board just to make a subtle change.
Yeah.
Very, very subtle.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And the other guy's like, I've seen it. It's derivative. It's derivative.
The cool part is because the five of us know each other really, really well. We can riff and riff and riff. And we're riffing. Notice people who are watching, we're riffing without ego. We're riffing. We're riffing without the need to control the story of the germ of Katie's idea. Mm-hmm. And this camaraderie, this didn't just happen instantly and organically. We all have training in this. We've worked together. We figured out how to communicate appropriately within a writing room. And yeah, so we're doing it. This is what it feels like in the real world. So let's move. Yes, Dave, were you gonna say something?
One of the things that I remember learning at Second City is when somebody came in with an idea or a sketch, the moment they brought it to the cast, it was the casts, and we all worked as one on this.
Yeah.
So, Amy, you mentioned earlier that Katie would go off with one of her ideas and write. That's a specific thing, but there's also some of these ideas where we are at a writer's table and everybody is writing it together.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Or Katie in a coffee shop with one other person and they're going back and forth and making each other laugh. That can be some of the best stuff comes out of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's everybody's. And also like to not feel proprietary, not feel that this has to be mine. And one of the things that you said earlier was like have as many ideas as you can so that you don't become attached to one thing because it's like, oh my gosh, it's the only thing I have, as opposed to, oh, I've got another idea and I have another idea and I have another idea, and carry a notebook around with you or carry something around with you, and no idea is dumb.
Yeah, and your willingness to surrender your ego to the creative process, guess what? That will make other artists want to work with you. Directors will want to work with you. Other actors will want to work with you. People will want to write stuff for you, write stuff with you, that you are willing to surrender to the process, surrender your ego completely, and just allow the process to occur and trust that everyone cares about all this, your stuff. Everyone cares about the stuff that you're creating. Dave, give us a who, what, and where. This will be the last one. One more.
Okay, all right. Here we go. It's a little more complex. Two crows fighting over roadkill on a state highway.
Okay.
Two crows fighting over roadkill on a state highway.
That's good. That's good.
Is it a father trying to teach the son how to do it correctly? And the son is like, I'm going to do it the way I want to, Dad.
Ooh.
Yeah, that's the way that's the way old people eat.
Oh my God, it's so embarrassing. I would never do that with my friends.
And he and the child is a vegan.
Oh wow.
The child bird. Bird child.
Top bird. I'm imagining they are finicky eaters, and they are going to have a very highfalutin opinions of this roadkill.
What the roadkill did here in his life.
This has a notes of laying on the
diesel.
The grass. Diesel.
I love it if the roadkill was someone they knew, so it's extra complicated, like there's history.
And Mike, I see that as something that comes later on, where it's like, you know who this reminds me of? Ed. Or you know what it has? It has a little almond flavor, a little bit of worm, and Ed.
There's an aftertaste of Ed.
An aftertaste of Ed.
It's a layer.
Yes. I don't know how to say it. It's an aftertaste of Ed.
Okay, so for those of you, that was brilliant. Thank you, everyone. So for those of you keeping track who are watching our video, what that was this. That was who, a what, and a where, plus a twist. And that combined equals a premise. So write that down. That's a premise, a who, what, and where plus a twist. On Saturday Night Live, the writers all pile into Lorne Michaels' office with the host, and the writers pitch their premises to the host. So if there's a show, an episode of SNL that you think like, it wasn't a fantastic show, that means that the host was not fantastic at showcasing their talents, or they were shy and they'd rather not like do anything outrageous. But then there are people who, when they host, the shows are magic, like Melissa McCarthy, magic. Eddie Murphy recently, magic. Chance the Rapper, magic, because they love the ideas and they're willing to be silly and ridiculous, and they just eat up those premises. Okay, so that's the premise. Mm-hmm. Everybody go away now, right, Ross?
Yes, we'll have you back in a minute. Thanks. So Amy mentioned a few times, give me a boring who, what, and where. And another way to think of why we start with boring is to think of reality, right? Things have to be grounded. You know, if you start with your premise on Mars, on acid, in a crazy, insane place, it's hard to get the audience on board with that. So the next tool we're going to talk about is structure. And I like to think of it in terms of 5 sections that you will find in most comedy sketches. It doesn't matter if the sketch is 90 seconds long or 7 minutes long and sort of overstaying its welcome. If you see a sketch that works, that makes you laugh, it's probably going to have these 5 components, and it's less a matter of thinking of this as a formula, because it's not a formula. What structure really is a way of describing how audiences experience humorous situations. Okay, and I'm going to come back to that. So I'm going to introduce these terms, and then we're going to bring everybody back to talk about them. So 5 terms. Exposition, right? That's our who, what, and where. That's the unfunny part, right? 2 coworkers who are cleaning topiaries at the museum, right? We don't know why that's funny yet. We don't know why it's a comedy sketch. Then we get to a point where the twist emerges for the first time. And that twist defines sections 2, 3, and 4. Because 2, 3, and 4 are a pattern. And we call those, very often in comedy, discover, explore, heighten. Discover is the first time the audience notices something weird, specific, or unusual that they wouldn't expect to happen in that situation. And they go, oh, that's different. It doesn't have to be hilarious. In fact, it's often something very small or weird. The next, explore. We've had the weird thing happen. Now we start to play with it. We go back to it. It seems to go away, then it comes back. And then it comes back and gets a little bigger, a little weirder, a little louder, a little funnier. Okay? Discover, explore, heighten. Heighten is the climax of the scene. Okay? It's the loudest, craziest, funniest, weirdest part. And those 3 form a pattern. Right? After that, we have 4 out of 5 sections of the scene. Then we have resolution, which is, in literature, we call it denouement. But resolution is just what happens after we can't get any funnier. Usually there's a falling action. We have some honest moment. We have some change that happens in somebody. And then one last joke and we're out. Oftentimes when writers are beginning, they focus too much on the last joke of the scene, the last line. I think, oh, I got to have a great last line. I think worrying about the last line of the scene is like worrying about where to put the cherry before you've put the ice cream and the nuts and the fudge and the whipped cream on. Don't worry about the last line. Think about your structure. Think about the pattern, because that pattern will lead you over a hill. And when you get over the hill, you'll be able to see what's on the other side and make a choice that works for what's there when you're there. So to give an example and apply these things to a scene a lot of people have seen, there's a sketch from SNL called Cowbell, okay? And it starts in the exposition. There is a band, the Oyster Cult is recording a song. And Christopher Walken is the producer, and he comes in and says, okay, we're gonna do a take, we're gonna record this song. They start to play the song. Will Ferrell happens to be playing the cowbell. Christopher Walken stops the recording, he busts in and he says, hey, that was pretty good, but I need more cowbell, right? That's the discovery. Why is this guy obsessed with cowbell? It's a funny word. It's a weird instrument to play. We don't think of it as a rock and roll instrument, but he goes away. He goes back into the booth. We start again. Now we're in the next section of the scene where we're playing even louder with the cowbell. Will Ferrell's starting to dance around and get obnoxious, and they have to stop one more time. Christopher Walken comes back out. He asks for even more cowbell. They start to disagree about how much cowbell they should have. We're really exploring now. Then they do another take, and we're heading towards Heighton. Will Ferrell takes the cowbell, and he's off rhythm, and he's got it in Parnell's face, and he's jamming, and a fight breaks out, and the microphone gets knocked over, and Christopher Walken has to come back. This is our Heighton. This is as crazy as it's going to get, right? Our resolution, we have a nice little talk. We agree this is an important song. We have to re-record it. And then one last joke at the end. Do you remember the last joke of cowbell?
The day he died.
Oh, yeah. The last joke of cowbell is they cut to the chyron of the day that musician died, right? Unexpected, funny, but it works for that sketch. Okay. You can do this with any sketch that you watch on SNL or Monty Python or Key and Peele or whatever your thing is. And if you see a sketch that works, they're probably using that 5 elements. If you see a sketch that kind of falls flat or doesn't pay off or overstays its welcome, they might have gotten stuck in one of those sections. Maybe they got stuck in Explore and they never got to Heighten. Or they stayed in exposition too long and it was 3 minutes before something funny or interesting happens. It's a great way to analyze what the audience is experiencing. Let's bring everybody back in.
Come back.
Come back.
Ah, they came back. They
Cool.
keep coming back.
So your homework, this is like the easiest homework ever,
The easiest.
right? Go to YouTube and watch one of your favorite sketches, right?
We are such top
it. Something you
teachers.
already know. We're so bad. We're like cruel taskmasters. So all I want you to do is tell us about the sketch you watched and try to describe it just in those 5 simple terms. Don't tell us every joke. Don't tell us every line. Don't try to recreate every performance. But do tell us those 5 things that happen in the sketch. And I bet you they're there if it's a good sketch that you liked. Who wants to go first?
Katie.
Katie.
Thank you. My favorite sketch, it's the first thing that popped in my head because I could watch sketches for days, is from HBO's A Black Lady Sketch Show. And
Love it.
It's the We're My Backup Singers.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
So they start off in a breakup. So that's the who, what, where, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then the twist is that Patti LaBelle starts singing On My Own.
Okay, so that's the discovery. What makes that funny for the audience? Or unexpected, I should say.
She just shows up. She just magics there and starts
Okay.
singing.
We don't expect her. Right.
And it's really Patti LaBelle.
Yeah.
It's also really.
I lost my mind when real Patti LaBelle showed up.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean,
Go ahead.
Cool.
Oh my God. I don't know. What was the next thing that I think back? I love this sketch so much.
Explore. What's the middle of that sketch? What happens after that first appearance?
So then they reveal that this happens to her all the time. Every single breakup she's ever had in her life, Patti LaBelle shows up, and then they.
Our main character. It always happens to her.
Yes.
Just her, nobody else.
Nobody else.
Yeah.
No matter where it is, in the middle of a restaurant, blah blah blah. So that this is a normal thing that has happened to her whole life, and she's not having it. She's not like, oh, thank you, Patti LaBelle, for showing up in my house. She's like, oh, God damn it. And the whole time you realize she's trying to stop the breakup, not because she doesn't want to be with him, like not because she wants the relationship to work. She's like, no, you don't understand. There's going to be this whole thing of smoke and singing, and And then she calls for backup dancers. Patti LaBelle calls for that's the height, like it's all the way.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And then after that is you realize she has to sing along. She has to embrace it. So
Okay.
I know. I love it for all the other little
Yeah.
things of like, we don't need you. It's about the woman being like, you're right? You're okay. I got you. You're going to listen to the song. You're going to sing it out, and then you're going to be okay, and you're going to move on. That's the whole thing.
And would you say that's the resolution? Is that she has to sing along?
Yes, that's when you realize, that Patty leaves. As soon as she starts singing, she sings like 3 words or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, cool, see ya.
Mm-hmm. I love when a sketch is funny, and then earns like an honest or real moment. To me, that is the pathos that grounds humor and makes it 3-dimensional instead of 2-dimensional. And oftentimes when we're developing sketches, we don't know what that honest, human, authentic thing might be. But it's often there if we just look for it. If we're willing, we don't need 5 honest, human, authentic lessons to come out of a sketch, but one really beautiful one is like often just perfect. Like, boom, you've earned it, right? Cool. Oh, that's great. Has everyone seen that sketch? Have you? Cool.
Dave, you're gonna love it.
You're gonna love that sketch. That show actually.
So what would the link? What would the link be, Katie? That students
On
look
HBO.
for?
So it's on HBO.
Yeah,
Get
you're gonna have to get HBO, guys.
Get your older.
They might have clips on YouTube. The YouTube might have HBO clips.
I mean, they find them on Instagram, find them on Facebook. I know that they post their links, and it's called Black Lady Sketch Show. So it's not it's it's the idea is
a Black Lady Sketch Show.
Yeah. One
alphabetically, it's first.
that too.
Right.
But every sketch that they have is just
Right. So you see that structure then? It's in you see it in that sketch for sure, right?
Oh yeah.
Cool. Good. Dave, what's the sketch you watched?
I think it's the perfect sketch that I wasn't in. And it's the audition from Mr. Show.
Oh my God.
I mean, I'm not knocking anybody else's, but I teach this in my class and I'm going, it's just perfect. It is absolutely a perfect sketch. The tension in that piece is wonderful. The execution really is good. And it falls into all the 5, and it's really easy to dissect it into the categories that you and that Mike and Amy have laid out for us. It's really great. The who, the what, and the where is the exposition at the beginning of the scene is it's 2 people who are auditors leading an audition, and they are Dino Stamatopoulos and Bob Odenkirk.
Dino's our writer, right, Dave? Dino
wrote it. Yeah, Dino wrote it. Dino wrote it, and again, I think it's up there with Who's on First. That's what I feel. So Dino wrote it. So behind the desk, because when you go to an audition, you read it for 2 people, and it's Dino and Bob Odenkirk, and David Cross is auditioning, and he's auditioning using a piece called The Audition. The piece is called The Audition. So the who, the what, and the where is someone's auditioning for auditioners at a studio where people audition. So that's the exposition is this person is going to read he's going to do this audition, and what he's needing is he just wants to, the scene starts out, he goes, I'm going to do this piece called The Audition by whoever it's going to be, and the first line out is that he says is, because it's a chair, and the first line out is, can I use this chair? And the guys go, yeah, of course you can use that chair, and David goes, I'm so sorry, that's the first line of the dialogue.
Yeah.
And as the piece goes on, so it's discovery. And what we discover is David Cross the piece is called The Audition, and he's trying to get, and in the audition, it's in the scene, the audition that is written, the actor is asking the 2 people who he is reading the audition for, if he can use the chair. And what they discover as they keep going on is the 2 people behind the desk, who are the auditors, he keeps asking them questions like, can I use this chair? And they're not answering him. And and they're not answering because they learn every time they answer. It's like, no, this is in the script. I don't need you. And it builds and builds and builds. And it is perfectly put together. Again, the audition from Mr. Show. So he keeps yelling. The yelling gets more and more and more, and he gets more serious. That's the heightening, and the resolution is probably the worst resolution. I mean, it's really a crappy ending, and maybe you guys can address it. It's a really crappy ending, and they just go, "Hey, enough, kid, you got the part," and it's like, "I got the part," and it's like, meh, meh. But that being said, it resolves it. You know it's over. But I think it's wonderful, and if you've never seen it, I hope I didn't blow it for you.
And that was a show. Mr. Show was a show where they were very good at heighten. They were very good at that, and maybe their strength wasn't the sort of pathos or honesty that comes out of relationship, or it comes out of character, thinking of character in psychological terms instead of just quirky behavior terms. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's like Monty Python, and Monty Python couldn't come up with endings, so they threw out that line that everybody knows, and now for something completely different. So they would reach the point where it would normally have some great ending line, and then somebody would just walk in, and now for something completely different, and they would never really end the sketch.
Now, to contrast with that, I would say Nichols and May were the consummate relationship improvisers. When they wrote a sketch, they thought of the relationship in human terms, like the mother and the son sketch feels so real. And when they get to that ending, that breakdown that Mike Nichols has with Elaine May, it feels like every son having a fight with his mother, like fully cooked.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay, that's great. Let's move on. Marshall, what's your sketch?
My sketch is actually a little bit older. It's from the movie Kentucky Fried Movie.
I remember it.
We own it.
I do too. I love that movie. And it's the how to be romantic sketch. So basically the who, the what, the where, the exposition is there's a couple and they're attempting, the man is attempting to be romantic but doesn't know what to do. So he puts on a record that is an instructional record as to how to have a romantic evening with your partner. And it has the deep, pleasant voice of, hey, and now it's and it's instructing him on every step of the way. But the little twist that they get to explore is how clumsy the man is at every move. He keeps dropping things, he's messing things up, he's breaking things, and the woman is being completely patient and understanding, and she's riding along with it, and he's trying all these different things that the record is telling him. So they're exploring all of the standard and classic, ways to be romantic, light a candle, wine and massage and all of these things. And he keeps messing them all up. And so it heightens because he keeps being clumsier and clumsier, destroying more of the house, of the room that they're in, until it heightens to a point where at the end, the record tells you that if you still can't perform all of these things, then big Jim Slade's going to come in and save the day. And a big, gigantic, big, muscular black dude, linebacker for somebody in the NFL, bursts through the door, bursts down everything. It's like the walls are falling down. He comes in and he scoops her up and he takes her off and he walks out the door, and it's like, this guy, Jim Slade, will take care of you and do all the things that you can't do. It's such a great ending to it because you don't see it coming.
It's like
he comes in like the Kool-Aid man, and you don't.
Yeah,
I remember it, and that made the trailer of that movie because it's so funny.
Yeah,
it's that thing.
It makes me laugh out loud so much.
It's so funny, and the visual of it. I mean, it's like that thing of if there's a gospel choir in your sketch, you're probably in the heightening phase of your sketch. You don't want to open with that. If your sketch has Jim Slade stealing your woman, it's in the heightening phase of your sketch.
So you're done.
Yeah.
End it.
Awesome. That's fantastic. We gotta rewatch that.
Movie, guys.
Shall we jump to the next tool?
Yeah.
Okay. So that tool was structure. We're gonna have you guys jump out. Thanks so much. We'll have you back in a minute. And Amy's gonna take it away for our last tool.
Yeah. This is a concept that's used a lot in sketch comedy. You'll notice it a lot in movies. You'll notice it a lot on sitcoms. You'll notice it in commercials. This concept is called simple but impossible task. So in a second, I'm going to have my writers come back, and we're going to choose a character. We're going to put that character on a journey or we're going to create many, many, many obstacles for, I say obstacles because I'm from Illinois. We're going to create many obstacles for that character to make it very difficult for them to complete their task. Now here's the catch. The character has to have a reason. They have to have a definite reason for needing to complete the sketch. And it can be something everyday, simple reason for, you know, getting the thing done that they have to get done. But we'll come up with that together. And then you're actually gonna learn a new tool, but I'm gonna teach it a little bit backwards. So come back, writers, come back. They didn't come back. Oh, they came back.
They're back.
They're back.
Yay.
They still like us. Yay. Okay, so let's pretend that Katie is our character. She's our main character. And she needs a very simple task. Like, for example, making toast. So what would be a good simple task for our Katie that she has to complete? Let's make it really even easier. She's at home. She's at home. She's got to complete this task.
Brushing her teeth.
Brushing her teeth. That's fantastic. That's great. That's great. Okay, so we're going to come up with as many obstacles as we can. So she's in her home. She's in her bathroom. We're going to come up with many, many obstacles. But before we do that, we need to know, why does she need to really complete this task? What is going to keep her from giving up and not doing it?
She's going to the dentist.
Oh, that's great. That's great. That's great. So earlier when we were collaborating with our premises, Who, What, and Where plus a twist, right? Again, because we all know each other, we've all known each other for a million billion years, and we already have our camaraderie all built in. There's a way of communicating appropriately in a writing room that we kind of skip over because we know each other really, really well, and we already know to take care of each other. So for this one, we're going to practice that early, very essential industry-approved jargon way of sharing ideas, and we're going to precede every suggestion with what if. What if this happens? What if that happens? What if this? What if this? What if this? So what if, again, it's a tool that subtracts ego and emotion from the creative process, because your ego and your intense emotions about the process do not matter. What matters is this character is on a journey and she needs obstacles. We need to ruin her day. And she's headed to the dentist, so the stakes are high. So let's what if this. What would be the first obstacle for Katie to brush her teeth? Katie, you are also free to what if your own journey, okay?
The light won't turn on in the bathroom.
Ooh, okay.
What if there's they shut the water off?
Ooh, good.
What if the cap is too tight?
Good.
What if her toothbrush fell in the toilet?
Oh God.
Good.
She actually finally gets it off. When I finally get it off, I've also squeezed it all over.
That's great.
So then I'm trying
what if the dog stole the toothbrush?
out of the toilet.
You won't give it back.
Yeah. What if yeah?
What if the dog got on a bus?
And waved to her.
The tooth sticking out.
What if her go ahead, Amy.
What if she went to open a cabinet to get another toothbrush and more toothpaste, like, you know, the cabinet where you have all your supplies,
yeah.
And the handle broke off.
What if the bathroom is being renovated tomorrow, but the guys came by today accidentally to renovate the bathroom?
Of course. So now she's in her bathroom with, let's say, 4 guys. Because one guy would make sense. 4 guys is ridiculous. So I want 4 guys in the bathroom.
And the 4 guys all live in the same place, and their water's been turned off for 2 weeks, and they haven't bathed in that time.
What if? Okay.
What if she finally just screw it, leaves the house and goes to the store and it's closed.
Of course.
But she does find a bodega which does have the supplies. What if on the way over there she trips and all of her teeth are knocked out?
I was thinking something along those lines.
What if the only way to raise money to get a new toothbrush is she has to enter a taffy eating contest? Jaw closed.
She finally finds the last tube of toothpaste, and it's cinnamon.
Deal breaker.
What if?
Yes.
What if none of those things happen, but in the mirror trying to brush her teeth, Candyman standing behind her and will not leave her alone?
Wow.
Horror stuff, guys.
Or stuff, guys. You push it into the horror realm. Horror.
Horror stuff, guys. Horror.
Getting to like missing all teeth knocked out. She's a bloody mess. And Candyman is in the mirror. Is he in the mirror or he's standing behind you? I forgot the rules of
You
Candyman.
sit in the mirror and then he's in the mirror behind you, and then he's behind you in real life.
Okay. Yeah. And then for me, that sounds like, and we're done.
Yeah.
Like her life started out, here's the thing I have to do. She looks at her iCalendar, bloop, there's a thing I got to do. And then one nightmare after another, getting progressively, and following along with scenic structure that we've already mastered. We understand, like the character's on a journey.
What if she then realizes that she had a toothbrush and toothpaste in her purse the entire time?
And she just cried.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's probably our ending.
Yeah.
Right?
And for me, with Simple but Impossible Task, if at the ending the characters' clothes have been burned and tattered, they've burned down the apartment building, it's ash surrounding them, and then they have successfully diapered the baby. Right? Like they did the thing.
But it's the wrong baby.
It's the wrong baby.
Two common examples of projects that use this all the time. Coyote and Roadrunner. Every episode is Simple but Impossible Task. Coyote just wants to catch the Roadrunner, and he's never going to do it. Mr. Bean. Mr. Bean takes Simple but Impossible Task, and it does it silently with all visual gags, which is why it's like a huge hit in every market, because it's a universal human, like kind of comedic ingredient that everybody gets without language.
We feel for the character. It's used a lot in commercials. If you use product A, they're going to take you on this journey to nowhere and you'll be miserable. But if you use product B, yay, it's super easy. You can bypass all of that and get to the front of the line and, be sipping cocktails on the beach. So now we have offered up these tools. We've got specificity, premise, structure, and what if. And with all of the things we've shared with you today, a necessary element would be in future when we see you next July. A necessary element would be character. Who are these people on this journey? And certainly we have formulas with which to create comedic characters. And you'll have to learn that in July 2021.
Yeah, come and play at Summer Arts. In addition to character, we talk about things like satire and content and choosing a target that's worth going after and having material that goes deeper than an ashtray. And you actually get the experience of getting to create comedy with other people, and you get these tools that you get to keep. And it's such a great, great thing. John, did you want to do your back? John, you okay? John? What's going on, John?
All that at Summer Arts?
Yeah.
And they actually get to see you in person?
They do. They do.
Fact.
Oh.
True fact.
And if they're very good and very funny, we'll actually go through all of the ingredients of a Chicago-style hot dog. We can talk about tomatoes, sport peppers, the electric blue relish.
I'm actually salivating right now.
And there is celery salt. It's very small. It's very tiny, but you can see there's some celery salt in there.
I'm like Pavlov's dog. So I want to thank Mike and Amy for a terrific workshop. That was lots of fun. I was laughing in silence watching the whole thing. Thank you all. And I'm going to say goodbye to you individually so that you can leave me here alone. Dave, goodbye, Dave. Goodbye, Katie and Marshall. Goodbye, Mike and Amy. One of my favorite quotes about literature is, you know you're at the end when you're back at the beginning. Love you guys, and we'll see you for our next workshop, which will be Katie and Marshall. And have a great time, and we hope to see many of you this summer. See ya.